All right, so let us continue from where we left off. Did anybody have any questions before we continue?
No.
All right, let's continue then.
I need to pay my bills on time so that I can maintain a good relationship with my suppliers, maintain my good credit rating, and continue to get the products and services I need to run my business. So when I review my bills folder each week, I look to see which bills are due in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I look at my checking account balance and my recent revenue to make sure that I will have enough money coming in to pay my bills. This helps me manage my money or cash flow and see if I'm going to have problems paying my bills. Recently, I started selling items to other catering companies for weddings and parties. I've agreed to sell to these companies on account, which just means that I grant them credit. I deliver the cookies and desserts and then send them an invoice in the mail or by email. They pay me later. A friend of mine has recently had a bad experience selling on credit. She lost track of what customers owed her and didn't collect on many of her sales. She lost so much revenue that she went out of business. So when I started selling on credit, I made sure to have a standard sales invoice form that has an invoice number on it. For example, this is invoice number 1505. I make sure to issue each sales invoice in order. So the next invoice that I write up will be invoice number 1506, and then invoice number 1507, and so on. I do this so I can make sure that I've recorded every sales invoice and don't lose track of them like my friend did. You don't want to lose track of your sales invoices and not get paid for your products or services. I do 2 things to keep track of my sales invoices. First, I keep a sales invoice journal to make sure I don't lose any invoices or forget to get paid. The sales invoice journal is very simple and used from month to month and year to year. I record each and every invoice I send out to a customer. Since my invoices are numbered in order, it's easy for me to see if I've missed one. Once a customer pays the total amount of the invoice, I write yes under the paid in full column.
Okay, so for this particular one, this is called a sales invoice journal. So this is separate from the cash receipts and payments journal. This is sales invoice journal. Okay, so with this one, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. The number of rows, again, depending on the number of invoices that you have. It would have the date, sales invoice number, the customer that the invoice was sent to, the amount of the invoice, and of course, whether the invoice was paid in full. You put yes. If it's not paid in full, you don't typically have to put no, but if it is a partial payment, then of course you would put what the partial payment details are. But always keep records of your sales invoices because this is money that you are being owed. Okay, now with typical invoices, there's a certain date that it needs to be paid by. The same way when it comes to your utilities, there's a due date. So with this, with your invoice, there must be a due date on your invoices as well. So don't play cat and mouse with your money. Ensure that the same way you pay your bills, persons pay you. Okay? And keep on the ball. There are some persons, I'm not sure why that is, they're afraid to ask for their money when people owe. Why would you be afraid to ask for your money if people owe you? It's your money. Okay? You're not courts. You're not harassing them. You're simply giving a reminder, especially when it is close to the date, you're reminding them that the due date is coming up, and you ensure that you get some information as to when it's going to be paid by. You need to follow up. Okay, that's what good business people do. That's just business. You're not being obnoxious. You're not being pleased or arrogant. You're just doing what you need to do for your business. All right. Okay, so we are rounding up for the evening. As I stated, I do have to leave early. I do apologize for the early end of the class, but we have covered the majority of what I wanted you to see. I wanted to go over with you to ensure that you fully understood. Please, 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 do not make me believe that you understand the work and you don't. Okay, that is going against you. It would really work against you if you do that. Always ensure that you fully understand the work before we go ahead on our way. And then when it comes to the assignments, now you get stuck. Let me know if you don't get something. All right. Now, as I stated, the assignment that is in Canvas in relation to this particular module deals specifically with what we just covered. Okay, so we went through this. If you need to review it, feel free to review it again. That's not going to be a problem. But then that is what the assignment is going to be based on. So in your assignments, that is in modules, you will be, of course, doing the preparing your financials assignment. That's the one that you're going to be doing. So please ensure that you take your time and you do this properly. What some persons have been doing, they have been submitting partial assignments, and then they write in the rest in the comments. Please, again, I will say it again, do not submit responses to assignments in the comments. It will not be graded. Assignments need to be submitted in the assignment section. That's what submit assignment is for. The comments is not for that. Okay, comments is for comments. That's all it's for. People don't grade comments. All right. So ensure that all of your documents and everything is there before you submit. Some people only submitting pieces of things for me. Ensure that all questions are answered when you submit, please. Okay. Also, the next module that you're going to be doing in Dream Builder is funding your dream and business pitching. So that's the next one you're going to be doing. We have our speaker who's going to be Miss Emma Charles. She's with First National Bank. That is the bank that I would, of course, recommend persons to start their business account with. But I mean, you have your choice. If you already have your account, if you don't yet, that is the bank that I recommend that you start your business account with if you don't already have one. All right. So she has agreed to, of course, share with us the ins and outs of how the bank views you as a business, how the bank views you as a startup, your financials, how you track things and what you present to them. She will give you a very frank and honest view from the bank's perspective. She will also give you some advice as to how best to approach the bank when you're seeking funding. Do not be afraid of the banks. Okay, it's not all bad news. There's good news. Do not be afraid of the banks. You can actually go to get great advice there. Okay, she is a business relationship manager. That's what her job is, to provide advice, give advice on your options and the best way to put yourself in an advantage point so that you can become a favorable candidate for a loan. Okay, so she'll be sharing this information with you when she speaks. Also, she is the one who endorsed our Business Susu program. And this is the Business Susu program that has been implemented since last year's pilot. And the ladies from the last year's pilot is still involved in this Business Susu program. I'm not sure if you saw the post that I shared on the Facebook page about how much money they have raised so far. And that's over $7,000 that they have raised. That's self-investment. That's investing in themselves and in each other. You cannot beat that type of relationship. And banks look very favorable on this type of program because it shows discipline, commitment. Discipline, commitment. Because if you're not willing to put your money where your mouth is, why should we invest in you? Okay, so this is just a couple of things that you're going to be hearing about when she speaks. Yes, Vinin, you have a question? Or a comment? Yes.
Sorry, I have to go between screens. So I didn't join the SUSU because me being in the States, I remember it cost me like $6 to send $6. So what is the other, like how much, what's the other way? If there's a way, I don't mind doing it, but if it's gonna cost me, you see what I'm saying?
You see, the thing is, if you have local counterparts that can conduct business on your behalf here in St. Lucia, then that is something that I would advise you to do. Because it would not be very cost effective for you to be sending money from overseas. It would be best if you have your local counterparts handling finances for you and doing that on your behalf. So you can sign up for the business SUSU, but the transactions have to be done locally. That will be in your benefit.
How much was how much was it? I didn't really, since
Well, you see, the thing is, it is a collective agreement. So it's based on what the group decides that they're comfortable. So the group has actually been formed. If there is a second group that can be formed out of, the rest of you, you're welcome to do that. But the first group has already been formed. They've agreed on 100 EC as their first, as to start off basically every month. And each lady takes a turn to draw those monies. There are, of course, stipulations for the business SUSU program. They start off at 100, but then after everybody has taken their turn to draw, the amount increases. So that's how it goes. So right now they're on the $100 cycle. They just started. When that cycle is done, and the group must have a minimum of 6 persons. So 6 ladies to a group is what we need to start it off with. And persons agree to the fixed amount. And after that cycle is done for the 6 persons, then it increases to 150. Then after that cycle ends, then it increases by 50 and so on and so forth. So that is the way we do that. You can also join more than one SUSU group because right now there are 3 SUSU groups currently operational. There are 3 right now. Each group has 6 persons. Actually, no, there's one group that has 5. Yeah, because one person changed their mind, but we didn't want to just, close it off because that one person left. So we have 2 groups with 6 and 1 group with 5. So that's the number of groups we have so far. So you will be hearing more about it from Emma when she makes her presentation. So please be around for that. That takes place on of course, Monday, God willing, same time as we normally do. The link for that will be shared in the announcements as I normally do. So check Canvas for your announcements for the link to register for that session. Ladies, I do have to leave. I do apologize. But of course, feel free to consult the recordings if you need to review anything. Anybody else who was not in class this evening, please ask them to review the recordings. You can find them in the files section. It's under the dates, the AFS folder. Check there for the recording. I don't want people keep beating down my phone, asking me questions for things that they should have been here listening for, okay? Tell them to check the recordings. If anybody needs any assistance, your group members, that's what they're there for. Reach out to your group members. That's what they're here for, to try to assist you. Before you come to me, check with your group members first. All right, ladies, we have to help each other. You have to help one another. All right? Okay. Bank of St. Lucia. Yes, that's my bank. So that's the account that I have for it.
The lady you said that's gonna be on Monday is Bank of St.
First National Bank.
Okay, so that's the one you recommend.
Yeah, that's the one I recommend. Yeah, because it's much, much easier. The other banks make it so difficult to open a business account. I don't know why, for the life of me. But that's the easiest one to get started with.
Okay,
all right.
Thank you.
So ladies, this is it for the evening. Do I have any questions or comments from anyone before we go? No more? All right, ladies, so we are done for the evening. Have a blessed night and take care of yourself. Don't forget to submit your assignment on time. Please do that on time. Okay? Have a good night, ladies.